How we doing, everybody? Welcome back. We got our Memorial Day Bengals Army podcast for you. We
What
got
it
Chris
do?
and Tony.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey,
What's going on, man? So we'll start out saying I hope everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend. I hope everybody took the time to think of the real meaning behind it. I'm not going to really go too in depth with it, but I know it means something to each of us and the sacrifices that our brothers, sisters, fathers, sons, daughters, everyone knows somebody that served and possibly gave the ultimate sacrifice for us to enjoy our weekends, enjoy our time together, enjoy talking Bengals football, right? So want to thank all those people, and I want to thank their families. You guys have anything you want to say on that?
Yeah, I just think that it's important to recognize kind of the purpose of the weekend. Everybody loves to go out and have a good time, and that is it's a great part of the weekend. But it's definitely important to take a minute or two to appreciate those who have paid, like Dusty said, the ultimate sacrifice. And it's called Memorial Day for a reason, in memorial of all the people that lost their lives. It's a pretty good point.
yeah, not to use the term piggyback too much, right?
Mhm.
But certainly just want to say thank you to everybody that gave the ultimate sacrifice. I know each of us know of somebody, even in our unit, right?
Yep.
That did so, and it's really important that we get that recognized, and we just take a moment and pause and understand that true meaning, right? And of course, spend time with family, right? This is a really cool weekend to take a day off, and hopefully, people had a day off. If you didn't, that is what it is. But glad to take that time, and I'm certainly grateful to be able to spend some time with my family this past weekend too.
Yep.
So,
Well said, fellas. We're also going to say thanks to a good buddy of mine. I met him at a military school down in Florida. His name is Big Ham. That's why I call him. You want to stay a little unanimous?
Anonymous.
anonymous.
Spell it.
Anonymous.
Now. Spell it.
Unanimous is a different term. But.
Yeah, yesterday was a long day for Daddy, fellas. Had a good time. Was up a little too late. But yeah, Big Ham, super good dude. He built the logo for us. He did graphic design. He's got a actual clothing apparel line. So it's called American Legends Clothing Company. So if anybody wants to go check some of his stuff out, highly recommend it. My buddy Jacob Roach and Dale Altman. I want to thank both those guys. They dedicated a lot of time giving me information on the startup of the podcast and different thing. Definitely helped us out a good bit with that, just being able to reach out to a couple people that have done it. Dale's got Bengals and Brews. Jacob's got his Browns podcast too. Eventually we'll do a little around the horn. We'll bring Roach on, hopefully, to do talk a little AFC North football, and that could be coming up pretty soon, starting with week 1. So we're going to do a little roster schedule breakdown and see what we think the wins and losses are going to look like. So, Chris, you want to kick us off with what you think week 1's going to look like?
Yeah. So I specifically waited to dive deep into the schedule and what the schedule is going to look like, because I love giving the kind of off the cuff reactions and like just what I think is going to happen without kind of getting too analytical about things, and like just what are my genuine feelings. So obviously we got week 1s. We're going up to Cleveland. In the AFC North, we are a very tough division. Smash mouth football. It's how it's been for a long time. It's how it's going to be for a lot longer. So I think this is going to be one of those tests early that is going to see, what our offensive line looks like, and how much more time they're going to need together to build chemistry. Because obviously Myles Garrett, one of the best edge rushers in the league, every time we face him, got a tough time keeping him off of our franchise, Joey B. So I think this is going to be a perfect first test for Orlando Brown Jr. But ultimately, I think the Bengals coming out with a dub.
I hope so, man. I hope so. And I just want to say, first and foremost, schedule breakdown week 1 versus the Browns. That's a tough place to go up to. I know First Energy isn't the nicest stadium in the world, but they've got a passionate fan base as well. As much, if not more passionate than Cincinnati at times. And, Joe's had some on and off luck there up in Cleveland, no doubt. They got a gift of a first round home opener last year and the year before, and then this year, we've got to go on the road again, like old school, old times, right? Always seem to open up on the road. It's kind of back to that traditional schedule, but I'm hoping for a win. I think, again, if you're talking about Myles Garrett too, in this matchup alone, they're going to be switching him around a lot. They know Orlando Brown Jr. is good, but who's our right tackle, right? Is it going to be Jonah? Is it going to be somebody else? They're going to be switching him all over the place to try to get us mixed up and just off balance. And to your point, Chris, how's that line gonna build that chemistry? But week 1, hoping for a dub. If it is a dub, it's going to be a close one.
Right on. I think it's going to be a close game as well. It's going to be a grinder. I mean, AFC North football is always tough. Opening with an AFC North opponent is kind of unpredictable. Playing in Cleveland, it's going to be interesting to see how we come out, how we play. I do think the line is going to be much improved just with a year of most of these guys under their belt. Orlando Brown Jr., he's been in a couple different teams, so he knows what it takes fitting in the locker rooms. And from everything I've seen and heard, it seems like he's really fitting in well with the team. You got to the right of him, you got Volson, who I think we're hoping takes a step forward. As a rookie, I don't know if any of us really thought he was going to start. So 4th round pick, kind of a diamond in the rough. And then we got our boy Teddy. And I think his veteran experience, I just think the left side of that line is going to be up a lot better. And like Tony said, Myles Garrett is just, dude, wrecks havoc. So it would be very interesting to see what they do with him, how the line holds up. Lyle Collins was out practicing, so he's doing rehab, and I see a video of him kind of doing a little bit of movement. So things could get interesting. We could maybe move on from Jonah, maybe not. There's a lot of things that are still up in the air. It's early on, but I got us taking a win. Joe Burrow doesn't play a lot of teams and lose to them twice. And the Browns have had our number. Joe normally can figure you out, so I think we all trust in Joe. I think.
Yep.
I think that's my prediction. Week 1 win. Week 2 we got Baltimore. Tony, let's hear about it.
Man, Baltimore is tough, right? They play us tougher than Cleveland almost always. Because when it comes to playing Cleveland, it's usually one way or another. Either we win big, we lose big, right? When it comes to Baltimore, it's always tight. Last 3 matchups last season, they were all tight. They were all single-score games, minus the one in week 17. We all know that they were resting their players. I get it. But when it comes to the real matchups, Lamar's going to come out with a chip because he just got the bag. Are we going to be able to get a dub at home week 2, coming out of the gate fast? Keys to that game, locking down Lamar. He's burn us, right? He was his own worst enemy in Baltimore last year, missing a few throws. And obviously we didn't play him the second time around with Huntley behind center. But this game alone is going to come down to whether or not we're consistent and whether or not we lock down Lamar, right? Because we don't have Von Bell anymore. We don't have Jesse Bates anymore. We have some young safeties. We have an improved defensive line. Are we able to lock that down? It's going to be a tight matchup again, just like every AFC North. I'm hoping, right, they come out, chip on their shoulder, week 2 at home opener, nice weather, hopefully, and we get a dub. If it's a dub, it's going to be less than 10 points.
Yep, Dusty, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so yeah, Lamar just got paid. He's back. The team added a couple different weapons, so we'll see how they use them, how they do. Like Tony said, it's going to be a tight game, a tight matchup. Their defense always plays us pretty tough. What was the playoff game, like 17? I think we only put up 17 points, and the defense gave us 6. I mean, pulled out the win, but
yeah,
it'll be a tough matchup. It'll be a tough game. It'll be fun. It'll be our home opener, so I'm sure the crowd's going to be crazy. I think last year, seeing what that cost us, the first 2 losses, not saying the team wasn't prepared. There was just a lot of craziness that kind of was going on in the offseason with Joe Burrow and the offensive line gelling together, a rookie left guard. So I think the Bengals, I think they'll split with Baltimore. I think Baltimore will be the team they split with in the AFC North. I think we beat Cleveland twice. Pittsburgh could possibly be a split whenever it gets to that point. But I like week 2 win in Cincinnati for us, because next time we play them, I believe that's a primetime Monday night game in Baltimore, and that is their record kind of speaks for itself. I forget exactly what it is on primetime, but their record is good. So in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony, I think you said it well. Baltimore always plays us close, whether they've got a bad team or they've got a good team. And I think over the last couple of years, I would have said personally that they've had a bad team, a worse team that they've had in a long time. And every single game, it's still close. Every single game, they're still fighting down to the final drive, the final quarter. And it always seems like that. I think they're a very well-coached team. I think that their defense is well coached, so they're going to be ready for kind of what the Bengals have to throw at them. And I think it's going to be scratching and clawing for every yard, scratching and clawing for every point. And I do think that Lamar's going to come out and he's going to, he's still going to be in early season mode. I got to prove this contract, and I think he's going to have that chip on his shoulder that maybe some people thought that I didn't deserve it, maybe this and that, but I think he's going to have plenty of motivation to come out and play well. They've got, a couple solid receivers so far, and we'll see what OBJ has, left in the bag. But I think that one of the rumors that's been going around now since DeAndre Hopkins got released is that he's checking in with the Ravens, and whether that's speculation or whatever, I think that could give a young secondary some troubles with the Bengals. So I think that Miles Murphy is going to do a good job of helping to keep the line fresh, even if he doesn't play that much. He's going to help keep those guys off the field, give them a rest, help keep everybody fresh to be able to contain Lamar in the pocket. And I think our linebackers, especially our third and fourth guys, young fellas, King Davis Gaither and Marcus Bailey with, a couple more years of experience in the league. I think that they're young and athletic enough to rove the secondary, throw an extra linebacker out there if they need to, throw an extra defensive back out there if they need to. But ultimately, I've got the Bengals coming out with this one too. So I'm starting at 2-0.
2-0. Then we got the Rams on primetime. A little Super Bowl rematch.
Here, let me just spoil it for everybody. It's a dub.
Preach to me, bud.
And look, I'm not being arrogant. The Rams are rebuilding. McVay's a hell of a coach. Stafford's a heck of a quarterback, and they've got people back. You contain Aaron Donald. They're not the team they were in Super Bowl in 21. I'm just going to flat out say it. They are rebuilding, okay?
Yep.
They're rebuilding. They're a big money team. They got their Super Bowl. That's great. They're in LA. That's what they do. It's a dub.
Nothing much else to be said. I think the Rams are very, very down. They're looking forward towards the future. So, dub.
Yep, that'll be a win. If not, I'll be very surprised. So, it'll be, I think it's 8 o'clock, 8:15 game. So, should be fun. The jungle will be rocking once again. Look forward to that. Let me look. I forget who we have next.
Next week will be 1 o'clock at the Titans.
Yep.
So heading down to Nashville. I think that we've played in Nashville for like 3 seasons straight or something like that. So it's kind of
that way.
It's kind of weird that you play a team this many times in a row all away. But I mean, when it comes down to it, the Titans just don't have a great team. The Titans don't have a great quarterback. We'll see. Even if their rookie is starting by this point. So I think this one doesn't take too much analysis. This is a dub.
I think it does take some analysis because Vrabel's a hell of a coach. I'm cautiously optimistic in this one, and here's why. Defense is always stingy. They always play us well on defense. I know Tannehill is probably going to be starting still, and he's very streaky, throws a lot of interceptions. They are a down year. They still have King Henry. He's not getting traded. Spoiler alert, he's not going to the Philadelphia Eagles. He's not going anywhere. He's going to play for the Titans this year. But still have the Bengals winning. If they do lose, I wouldn't be surprised because Cincinnati always throws one every now and then.
Yep.
But if they win, it'll be big.
Yep, I think it'll be a win. I think it'll be a tough game. Very well coached team, a good defense, very good defensive line. You got Jeffrey Simmons. Dude is a wrecking ball. I mean, look what happened a couple years ago. Was it 9 total sacks in the playoff game?
Yep.
And luckily, we had a couple turnovers that we got a couple extra drives on. So I think it'll be a tough game. I don't see us being a 2-score game or anything like that. I think it'll be decided. It'll be a one-score game. Unless the offense is clicking, if that offensive line gels, and Jamar, Tyler Boyd, if Irv Smith's healthy, man, playing some good ball, playing up to his potential. This could be one of them surprise games. It's just like, all right, here we go. We got the first couple weeks out of the way, came out with some wins, grinded them out. Now let's play some good football. We're all gelled together. So
yep.
Now I just contradicted myself, but I can see it going both ways.
Did you say counterdict or contradict?
Counterdicted.
That makes no sense. But let's move on.
Hey.
Dude, man, I'm tired, Tony. Tired. I mispronounced something a little bit ago.
All right, moving on. Week 5, Bengals Cardinals. Dusty, it's in Arizona. What's your take?
Arizona, man. That's going to be a tough one right there. You don't know Kyler Murray, the rebuilding team. No, I think the Bengals get their, what is this, week 5?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think week 5 coming out with a win right there. I don't know of any real threats on that team that scare me. We don't know who Kyler Murray is going to be this year. The team itself's a big unknown. I think we go there, handle business, get back to Cincinnati.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's too easy to pick this one, as a W and kind of not look too far into it. Like we mentioned with the Rams, I mean, this team is a rebuilding team. We got to call it what it is. Probably going to finish, bottom 6 or 7 in the league. And you referenced it, Tony, with the Tennessee game. The Bengals do always have one stinker where they let some team stick around in the game and then they end up making a mistake that gives the game away. But I don't think that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's this one. I'm taking the Bengals starting at 5-0. What do you think?
I'm so bullish on them starting 5-0 because it's so easy to say a team that's got Super Bowl aspirations to go 5-0 right out of the gate. I personally don't see that happening, even though I could see it happening, if that makes any sense at all. Yeah, if they're going to drop one, they're going to drop one. They're going to drop one to Baltimore or Tennessee before they do to Arizona. Arizona's a rebuilding team, to your point. New coach, quarterback coming off an injury. They just got rid of their premier receiver. They tried to have a fire sale and couldn't get it working.
Yep.
So the fire was put out. They're going to be in the bottom quarter of the league. It's going to be a dub, and it's going to be a big dub too.
Yep.
All right.
So then we move into week 6. Seahawks come to Paycor Stadium. Personally, I think that this one is probably a tougher game than it looks on its face. I think the Seahawks have some real buy-in and some real chemistry in that locker room. A lot of the guys, rallied around Geno last year, and he played his butt off. And the one thing that I'm nervous about is, I mentioned it earlier, the Bengals kind of have a younger secondary, and Chidobe Awuzie is coming back off that ACL. So we got to see, hopefully he can get his bursts back and he comes back to be the top 10 corner that he was before he got injured. But Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett, that's a pretty solid trio of receivers. So I think that it could be a little more of a shootout than a lot of people anticipate. But I think that just gets Paycor Stadium rocking because they're good to see Joe Burrow put up 34 points in another Bengals victory.
This smells like a Bengals-Vikings matchup where they come out and they miss a field goal and it's tight and it takes a couple big plays to win, gets the crowd rocking, and at the end of the day, Cincinnati wins, but we don't have a good feeling in our stomach. Kind of like that playoff game versus the Ravens. Remember that, Dusty? We all walked out of there. We were happy for the dub. We had an uneasy feeling in our stomach. If they do win, it's going to be that.
Yeah, I remember that feeling. It was, I think we all went into that game being very, very comfortable with the Bengals getting a win, a playoff win 2 years in a row. But it was a little uneasy at the same time. The ramifications of this loss won't be nearly as significant as ending your season like it was last year in the playoffs, obviously. But they have weapons, like you said. Definitely could be a shootout. The quarterback play, we'll see what Geno Smith does. He could come out, keep doing what he did last year, build off of it. Team chemistry seems good. They have a lot of athletic and a diverse receiver core. They got some speedsters. They got DK Metcalf. Their running back trio is pretty stout in general.
And Tariq Woolen's a dude. I'll just say it. Tariq Woolen's a dude. But not to cut you off, spoiler alert, Geno's not going to be as good as he was last year. Just going to say it. They only have confidence in him for the next couple years, max. If he does play well, he'll be streaky at times, but he wasn't good for the first however many years in this league. I don't think he's going to be as good as he was last year, but he's got a really good team around him.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. He kind of is a little unpredictable. They're traveling a good ways across the country, so that will always kind of adds to the difficulty a little bit. You feel better having Seattle come to you instead of you going to Seattle, especially with the way, which I'll reference this once again, Paycor Stadium is a hard place to play at now. Fans are hungry to see this team, see them be successful, and this team's being successful, and you can feel the fan energy in that stadium. Things get electric in there. It's a tough place to play. So I think we take the win. I think it'll probably be another tough game depending on how the defensive backs mesh. And at this point, we're already week 6 in. They're a professional football team at this point. Lou's got them figured out and playing some good football at this point. So I think defensively we're going to be playing good. I think we're going to get pressure on Geno, and I like the Bengals victory for 6-0 right now.
Yep.
Sounding like a homer.
So far through 6 weeks, I mean, I think we all have some pretty solid records, but let's keep this train rolling, and get to the next week before the bye. With Bengals will travel to San Francisco and give it the 49ers. Tony, you want to kick us off here?
It's going to be an L, and it's going to be a big L, and it's going to suck because we know that they're just as good as the Niners. I mean, if they win, that's awesome. I think they can, but certainly they lost their defensive coordinator. Certainly they've got questions at quarterback. I think the Niners overall, regardless of the coaching woes and the quarterback woes, can be a really solid team. They still hung with the Eagles, but even with half a quarterback for a little while in there, they still have CMC. They still have all the dudes we know and love here in this league, like Nick Bosa, etc. I don't like Cincinnati, winning this one. I think they would probably lose by 10 points or more.
Dusty, what do you think?
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be more than 10 points. I think this is going to be kind of a prove it game. You always got them games that are a feel good game. You go out and if you get a win against a team that's arguably has one of the best rosters in the NFL this year. You go out, grind it out. I think it's going to be competitive. I think it's going to be close. Could I see a 10-point loss? Yes. Do I think our team's good enough and been playing in tough stadiums against tough teams? I think we're built for this with the experience that we've gained the past couple years. I do have them taking an L, but I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I think it's still going to be a good game. You got to get that loss at some point. I mean, historically, it's going to happen, but this would be the first loss on the schedule for me.
Yeah, I'm on board with you guys 100%. I think that this is one of the ones that it's like, well, it's going to come from somewhere. And this feels to me like one of the games when, we leave the game thinking, man, why couldn't the Bengals convert any third downs? Why wasn't Joe Burrow on the same page as a couple of the receivers for a couple of plays that it seemed like really just weird mistakes? I think the defense might have a blown coverage or two, whatever, and we leave the game scoring like 14 or 17 points, thinking like, man, What happened to the offense? So I'm with you guys. I think that this one goes down as an L headed into the bye week. And then coming out of the bye week, we get to kind of relive what could have been with the Bills coming to the Bengals for a primetime game. I think that this is it's gonna stir up a lot of crazy feelings with a lot of the guys that were on the team from last year. Obviously, with DeMar Hamlin going down and everything that happened around that. But I think that once we get a couple minutes into the game, all of the kind of weirdness and nervousness and anxiousness that it comes with all that kind of extra stuff is gonna settle in, and it's gonna go away, and everybody's gonna get back to it. This one, I think the Bengals come out with that same fire that they started with last year. I think that they're gonna kind of be motivated by some of the stuff that happened because that game wasn't played, because things could have came down to a coin flip and this and that. And I think that some of the guys probably still have a little chip on their shoulder because of that. I think that this ends up being a really good game, a really good primetime NFL game where both teams are playing well. And I do think that the Bengals come out with a victory in this one.
It's a win for me. That's all I got to say. It's a win for me.
Yeah. So last year, that game, that was wild. That stadium was unreal. It was so much fun. Very unfortunate things happened, and we ended up playing them. We went to their stadium, played. They didn't have a dome. They didn't win. Simple as that. But we're going to beat Buffalo. This is, other than the Baltimore game, this is, hey, we're the top of the AFC. This is a prove-it game. Everybody, for whatever reason, always has this weird thing against the Bengals, kind of underdog team. Sometimes national media doesn't, for whatever reason, want to give us the love, give us our flowers. I think we're going to come out. We're going to play good Bengals football, and we're going to keep playing the way we did, the way we started last year, and how we finished against them in the playoffs.
Yep,
got to win.
So that gives us halfway through the schedule, and I think these next few will pick up the pace a little bit and kind of get a little more straight to the predictions here and keep this thing moving. But next game would be a 1:00 game. The Texans are coming to Paycor. Home game for the Bengals. Pretty simple win in my book.
Yep, it's going to be a win, but it's going to be awesome to see C.J. Stroud play at Paycor. So, win for me.
Win for me.
All right. So the following week is a Thursday game, and that's when the Bengals go and play at Baltimore. For me, Dusty mentioned it earlier. I think that the Bengals Ravens probably split. So I'm taking the Bengals at home, but right here I'm gonna have to take the Ravens at home in prime time. So I got a loss for the Bengals here.
I got an
you guys
L as
already
well.
got my answer.
On the same page. Look at that, same page. So following week, we got the Steelers coming to Cincinnati. And this is one of the things that I feel really weird about this division. I think that the Bengals are probably going to go 4-2 in the division. I think that means that they're going to split with two teams, and I think that it's probably going to be the Steelers and the Ravens. I think that one of those two splits is going to be the home team wins both games. One of those two splits is going to be the away team wins both games.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the ones that I'm going to take a weird stretch in the Bengals season, and I'm going to go ahead and take the Steelers, and maybe Mike Tomlin just coaches them up or whatever. But I got the Bengals losing 2 in a row.
I got a win right here. We've been playing really good down the stretch. Somewhat different than the Marvin Lewis era where, you came out of the bye, seemed like the guys were tired. They didn't take the bye serious. I think things have been different the past few years. I think Pittsburgh is going to be a tough team. They always play us good, well coached, as much as we might not want to admit it. So I take the Bengals win right here.
Bengals win if they can hit field goals.
Hopefully, we don't have a replacement in long snapper. So
yeah,
that's wild. Anyway, moving on. Bengals Jaguars. Bengals heading down south to Jacksonville. I've got Bengals losing, but barely.
Yeah, I also have a loss here. I got them dropping 3 in a row. Here in the meat of the schedule, I think that this is one of those teams that feels like every year the Bengals kind of lose a game that they should win.
Mm-hmm.
And this fits kind of one of those NFL storylines where Trevor Lawrence coming up against Joe Burrow, and the lesser of the two teams, the underdog, gets a win, and that's kind of Trevor Lawrence's ascension into the spotlight, and all of that kind of stuff. It fits all those good storylines, all those narratives. I think that this is just a weird stretch in the schedule, and they lose this one as well.
Yep, I got a loss right here. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to play a decent game. I think the team in general is going to have – we kind of have trap games every now and then. We call them a little bit of a trap game. We've kind of previously stated that against different teams. You always have maybe like a weird one to like Houston or Arizona. Like some team I wouldn't say the team overlooks, but something weird goes on. We get a loss. I think the Bengals are a better team. I think they're a better team than Jacksonville. I think it's a game they should win. I think it's a game they'll lose.
Yep.
All right. Rapid fire. Colts, Bengals, Vikings, Bengals. Both home games. Okay. Back-to-back home games at Paycor. I've got dubs in both.
Yeah. I have 2 wins here too. Like I said, I had them losing 3 in a row in the meat of the schedule, which did not feel good for me. But I got them coming back strong with 2 pretty sizable wins here in these 2 games.
Yeah, and one thing I'm going to add before you go, Dusty, Colts still are going to have a big old question mark next to their quarterback situation.
Mm-hmm.
I love Anthony Richardson as an athlete. I don't know that he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. I'm not sold. I think that was a reach, and you guys can get mad at me if you want. It is what it is, my opinion. I hope he's a great quarterback. I don't think he's going to be a good quarterback this season. I think they're still going to be searching for answers that point in the season.
Yep. I think Anthony Richardson, I think he's a good prospect. He's an interesting prospect. And sometimes the Bengals don't play great against rookie quarterbacks or backup quarterbacks. Sometimes they kind of drop the ball on those guys. I think the Bengals win. I think it might be a little different atmosphere there, just with Colts fans being fairly close. They might travel decently. I really don't know how well they'll travel. But I could see the Bengals winning these next 2 games. The second game's the Vikings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Vikings. Yeah, that one could be the same. There's some question marks at this point in the season, health wise. I see the Bengals taking a win here against the Vikings too.
Dusty, you're so respectful. The Vikings are going to suck this year. All right, let's just be honest with ourselves. Justin Jefferson's a dude. I still like, the situation they have up there in Minnesota for the most part, but they're not going to be a good team this year. So, dub.
And that brings us to the next Steelers game away at Pittsburgh. I referenced this earlier. I think that probably either Baltimore or Pittsburgh, the away team, is going to win both games. So I got the Bengals going into Pittsburgh and taking a dub right here.
I think this one's going to be situation dependent. A couple things: where they're at in the playoff standings and where they're at with injuries. The injuries are always going to, and I hate to bring that up, but that's the thing that always makes or breaks some of these games for the Cincinnati Bengals. Every year, once you get into the last few weeks of the season, any NFL team is going to be dealing with injuries. That's just the nature of the game. When it comes to this one in particular, they could win, and they could win pretty easily in Heinz Field because I know they're a better team than the Steelers. But it's going to come down to where they're at in the playoff standings, if they're there, right, and where they're at with injuries. Ultimately, I have them taking a dub, and if they do take a dub, it's going to be a stinker at Heinz Field. It's going to be a big win, and the Steelers are going to go get knocked out right there. So,
yep, I can see Pittsburgh having a good record at this point, or maybe not good, but I think they could be kind of wild card area. So I think they're going to come out. They're going to play good football. And I think the Bengals are just going to shut them down. I think we'll say, nope, this is our team. This is the AFC North, and we're champs. So we're going to get another win there. So, yeah, who's next?
Chiefs. The Chiefs. This is the New Year's Eve game. I think that this is going to be the atmosphere here down in Kansas City is going to be absolutely incredible at Arrowhead. And I think that, like I mentioned with the Bills game, it's going to be one of those games where it feels like both teams are, they're playing really well. They're going back and forth. The offense is playing well. Defense is playing well. But both teams are making plays. And I think that the Bengals are going to kind of feel that chip on their shoulder from last year, and that they're going to rally around it for a last drive Joe Burrow comeback victory.
I just hope that we're not playing for our playoff lives in this game. I don't want to see us go to Arrowhead with the game on the line and a playoff spot and all that garbage. I want this to be the point in the season where we're not too concerned. We've got a playoff spot locked up, barring anything catastrophic. And if we drop this one, no one really cares because we're going to see them again in the playoffs, hopefully.
Yep.
I have the Chiefs winning, but, the Bengals could easily win this one if they wanted to. It's all going to be situation dependent.
Yep.
Yep. I think both teams are going to be fighting for the AFC home field advantage at this point. I think this game's going to have a lot of meaning to it, and we haven't had a home AFC championship game in a long time. So let's bring one back. Let's get this win right here. Seal it.
And then we finish the season just the same as we started against the Cleveland Browns. This time the Browns will be coming to Cincinnati, coming into Paycor, and I think that the Bengals could possibly be playing for playoff seeding here at this point. So I think that it's going to be a game when we're still playing starters. We're not resting too terribly many people just because we're trying to get up to that 1 seed and make sure that we can have home field advantage through the playoffs. But I got a win here as well.
I got a win, but I hope that they don't end up having to play a bunch of starters. So,
yeah.
And if they don't play a bunch of starters and they're going to lose, and they know they don't have the 1 seed. So,
Yeah, I got to win. I think that'll move me to 5-1 in the division. I can see us easily being 4-2 in the division, but I like to see us at 5-1.
Yep.
So I got to win. Like I said, it's all situational. Depending on if we're resting guys at this point, we got everything locked up. If not, it's a win.
Yep. So that's the schedule breakdown there. I don't know if you guys were keeping track and you have wins and losses, but I got my final prediction at 13-4 for this season. My way too early prediction, as they call those. But I got it at 13-4 for this year, and I got us 4-2 in the division.
That's a really good prediction, and I think it could easily be 13-4 or 12-5. I could even see him going 11-6 and not be too surprised, honestly.
Yep.
I mean, Cincinnati's one of those teams. They're streaky in the season, and then the playoffs they turned it up. So, I think over/under wins on them is probably 11.5, 12 wins. I've got them at 12-5 max.
I got 13 wins. I can see 12-5. I think the over/under is 11.5. We'll see. I think we're definitely getting 11 wins, barring anything crazy. 11, at least 11 wins. I got us marked down at 13. So that's that. I think we're going to finish the show up. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you guys like the new logo that we got. We got everything set up. Hopefully we get some more shows out to you. Probably going to release some here pretty soon. I'm thinking probably the next week release the first couple that we got. If anybody has any suggestions on topics, anything for to make this a little better, we're definitely open to it. Starting this out, trying to have some fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy it along with the ride with us. You guys got any closing statements?
Yeah, I just think once we get going a little bit, we'll have, like a mailbag here and a mailbag there, and help everybody get to know kind of who we are and a little bit deeper into our Bengals fandom and that kind of stuff. But we're super excited to be doing this, and I think that it just feels like it's fun. I mean, we get to sit around and BS about Bengals football. Like, what's better than that?
What's better than that? What's better than that? No, I just want to say thanks, guys. This is awesome. Can't wait to see where this goes. And on our Twitter, Dusty, he'll make sure to drop the details on that. What kind of merch you guys want to see? I really want to see this take off in the near future. We want to put something out for people just to get the logo out there and to get the name out there. So if you guys have any suggestions for merch or things you guys want to see more of on the show, let us know and we'll make sure to add it.
Yeah. And shout out to everybody for I got a lot of feedback when I posted the logo. A lot of people were asking for stickers, asking for shirts. Everyone was being super kind with their words towards us. That means a lot. We appreciate it. We love doing this, but it does take it's a little time consuming, and sometimes it feels good knowing people like what you're doing. So show some love if you would.
And to drop that Twitter handle, it's at Bengals Army 1. So if you're not already following, come and follow and check it out. We'll be, that's a great place to engage with us and engage with the show. So.
Yep. Well, thank you guys. Honored to have you guys on here. Love you both. So we'll close her out.
Peace.
Hooday.